For some investment projects, we meet problems in using internal rate of return rule. For example, for the borrowing and lending problem, the internal rate of return rule does not differentiate whether we are getting the cash flow or paying the cash flow. Consider Project G and Project H. In Project G, we pay upfront investment $10,000 in year 0, and 1 year later we receive revenue at $12,000. Project H has the opposite cash flow. In year 0, Project H gives you $10,000, and 1 year later you should pay $12,000 for Project H. We can do quick calculation for internal rate of return. Project G and Project H has internal rate of return as 12%. However, if we consider the opportunity cost of capital as 15%, Project G and Project H has different net present value. We can verify the calculation. Say the discount rate is 15%. The net present value of Project G will be positive $434. But the net present value of the Project H will be the opposite. It is negative $434. So now you see the problem. Under the internal rate of return, Project G and Project H has identical internal rate of return. But the net present value of Project G is positive, and the present value of net present value of Project H is negative. So we should take Project G and reject Project H. When we have non-conventional cash flows in investment projects, internal rate of return rule again will have problems for us. Consider we have this software project. For this project, we should pay upfront investment $5,000. For the next 10 years, we receive the cash flows like an annuity. So these cash flows profit will be $10,000 for the next 10 years. And for this software project, we have to pay the maintenance cost. It is $100 forever for the next few years. If we assume the opportunity cost of capital as 8%, we can quickly calculate the net present value of this software project. It is the net present value of this upfront investment. The present value of this revenue annuity. It is a 10-period payment with $1,000 payment. And we have this maintenance cost perpetuity. It has $100 as a payment, and this payment will continue forever. And then you combine the present value of these 3 streams of cash flows. The net present value for this software project will be $460. Now, if we make some experiments toward this opportunity cost of capital, we can find that if the opportunity cost of capital is very low, say 1%, the net present value of this software project will be negative. Why? Because the present value of this maintenance cost will be overly high when the discount rate is very low. The net present value of the software project will also be negative if the opportunity cost of capital is very high, say 25%. Why? Because the present value of this revenue annuity will be very low if the opportunity cost of capital is very high. So we can only accept this software project if the discount rate is higher than 2.75% and lower than 10.88%. If we ignore this fact and we simply apply the internal rate of return rule, given the discount rate as 1%. According to the internal rate of return rule, we should take this project. But now we see that you will create loss. You will create loss for your shareholders if you use this internal rate of return rule. What if we have reinvestment of these cash flows? Can this fix the pitfalls of internal rate of return rule? Now let's see an example to say the results of this modified calculation of internal rate of return rule. Consider we have two projects. The project R has cash flows during year 0 and year 3. And the project N has these cash flows in year 0 and year 4. If we calculate the internal rate of return, project R has higher internal rate of return but lower net present value given the opportunity cost of capital at 10%. Now if we calculate the modified internal rate of return, that is to say we make reinvestment of these positive cash flows at the cost of capital to the end of these cash flows end. For this example, if we make reinvestment of cash flow in year 1, it will be $5,990 in year 4. If we make reinvestment of cash flow in year 2, it will be $4,840 in year 4. And if we combine all the cash flows in year 4, it will be $14,130. And now let's calculate the internal rate of return for this new project. This project has upfront investment $9,000 and $14,130 in year 4. So then the internal rate of return for this new project will be 11.94%. If we calculate, we say it is the modified internal rate of return. If we calculate the modified internal rate of return of project N, it will be identical to the internal rate of return. So now we see that after calculating the modified internal rate of return, project N has higher modified internal rate of return than project R. It has the similar intuition with this net present value rule. In short summary, net present value rule will always be the preferred choice. If we use internal rate of return rule, it can be misleading because investment projects have different scale and different time horizons of cash flows. Sometimes we may meet multiple solutions in solving an internal rate of return problem. Sometimes we may find no solutions in calculating an internal rate of return problem. If we use this modified internal rate of return, it can mitigate these problems, but it doesn't fix all these pitfalls. So in short words, net present value rule is always the best method because it provides a measure of value created in an investment project. However, internal rate of return or modified internal rate of return can be a good measure because it provides us some insights about the cash flows for an investment project. Thanks.